the fear of dying without living,
Yeah.
which
This
kind of is a
is
great segue.
yeah.
I kind of forgot
Yeah.
about this point.
It's
That was
absolutely
not planned.
connected. Um, so yeah, so this came to mind with the scene when Mickey shows up at Rocky's apartment trying to convince Rocky to let Mickey be the manager for this fight
Mhm.
and help get him ready and all of that stuff and be there with him. And um, Mickey seems extraordinarily desperate. And, he's trying his best to be a salesman, trying to sell Rocky on the idea. And Rocky is absolutely opposed. Like, in Rocky's mind at this moment, Mickey's the guy that took his locker, who didn't think highly enough of him to keep his spot there at the gym. And earlier in the movie, I think when Rocky's asking why, didn't Mickey say something like, because you had the potential to be great and you did nothing with it, or something like that? That's not a exact quote, but he says something like that. That's why he treats him so poorly or is so hard on him or whatever the conversation was at the time. But because Rocky had so much potential and he did nothing with it, I think is what Mickey says um, in that scene. But Mickey, when Rocky's turning
Real
him
quick, can
down,
I interject here real quick?
yeah, go for it. Go for it.
So, maybe this is where you're going, and I apologize for interrupting if this is where you're going, but before you say any more, I'm curious as to who you related to most in that moment. So, I'm remembering the scene that you're talking about. They're screaming at each other, and I think Rocky goes into the bathroom and shuts the door.
Yeah, yeah,
In
that's
that
what I'm talking about.
exact moment, who do you relate to the most? Do you relate to Mickey, or Rocky? I'm curious.
Um, hmm. That's tough.
Well, you're thinking I'm gonna say that I related to Rocky because
Okay.
and well, you know what? Maybe not. I'm not gonna tell you yet. I'll say I relate to Rocky the most, but I'm not gonna tell you why because it
Okay.
flows into our next point really well.
Yeah.
So
So I'm not really sure who I related to most. I kind of when I was watching that scene, I don't think I could put myself in either one of their shoes much, like in terms of relating it to my own experience. But I could definitely I felt for both of them because I could see, like, on their own terms where their reactions were coming from, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't relate
that
to
makes
it in the
sense.
sense of, man, I really feel like I could put myself in their shoes. I didn't feel
And
like that.
that's more of what I meant is whose
Yeah.
point or whose side did you understand the most? Who had the more uh correct point to stand on is really what I was getting at. And
Yeah.
whose side did you pick? Because
Yeah.
I felt myself aligning more with Rocky than Mickey.
So, like, you think Rocky should have maintained his no answer, or you just
I'm
think
not
that
saying
he
that
was
he should have. No, I'm saying that I think I'm validating his feelings more than
I
Mickey's.
never thought I would hear you use that phrase.
I can. Well, I see where you're coming from, and that's really funny. But what I'm saying is, so I guess I'll play my hand here a little bit to
Okay.
elaborate, and then we could go back to your point. But so we're talking about Mickey and Rocky. Rocky gets this opportunity, and then it seems as if Mickey comes out of nowhere to
Absolutely it
piggyback
does.
off of his opportunity, off of Rocky's opportunity.
Mhm.
And I think it's very interesting. So I felt like, well, if I was Rocky, I'd feel the same way
Yeah.
because I've got this opportunity and I want to go find somebody that's going to train me that actually believes in me, not the guy that, was telling me that I was a washed up has been for the
Mhm.
last however many years and now wants, a piece of the pie or wants the fame of being a trainer because, the leeches come out of everywhere
Mhm.
when opportunities of that magnitude come along. And that's why you got to know your people and you got to have a good inner circle of people that is going to, kind of ride or die with you. But that's kind of where I was, and then that kind of spills into the next point of more of the opposite reaction with
Mhm.
Paulie. And I think that that's a really good juxtaposition of the two characters, where you have one that's trying to leech. We find out later that it was kind of a match made in heaven, and it was really good that Rocky let Mick train him. But then on the other side of that, you've got the family member, the buddy, who is seeing everything that he could have if he took those opportunities, smaller in degree, but Rocky's, dating his sister now, and that's
Mhm.
going really well. He gets this title fight, and that's going really well, and he's getting a lot of attention, and now he's going to, fight for the title, and he's getting a lot of fame, and everything's going well. And Paulie just kind of sends himself down this spiral of, what would you call it? Self-indulgence and
S
destruction?
yeah, maybe
Like,
self-hatred even. Like,
you know.
he's
So, I just thought that those juxtapositions, or, the two comparing the two character arcs was interesting. And that's where I was
yeah.
kind of going with that, to see where your thoughts were on maybe who had the more, I guess, correct feeling in that moment. It's good that they both
Yeah.
overcame it and, whatever, but I was
And
curious as to what you thought.
I wonder if when so in that blow up where so before that point where Mickey tells Rocky that he had potential and wasted it, I wonder if anyone before that moment had ever told Rocky that he had potential. Like
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
even though it was in like a kind of this is why I'm treating you poorly kind of way, or like
Mhm.
almost like a tough love maybe
My
was the
actions are
motive.
justified. My
Yeah,
actions of treating you poorly are justified because you didn't, use your talent
right.
in the right way, didn't reach your full
But
potential, whatever.
but at the same time, it's also acknowledgement that Rocky had potential.
That's correct. And if he did have potential, then why wasn't Mickey a good enough coach to bring it out of him?
Yeah. Yeah, there's all kinds of questions
There's
there
all
with those
kinds of,
characters and the
there's
relationship.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a what's the word? They're both guilty is what it comes down
Yeah.
to. They're
Yeah.
both guilty of the same thing.
Yeah.
One just got
Yeah.
the opportunity and the other didn't. And I mean, you could have had the same movie if Mick got the opportunity to train Apollo Creed and Rocky would have wanted to be a sparring partner. You would have had the same
Or
movie.
something. Yeah.
Something similar, you know?
Yeah. So it could be similar, yeah, but just from a different perspective. Um, but yeah, both Rocky and even I didn't even think about it in terms of Polly necessarily, but you bringing it up definitely creates a a good connection there.
Hey guys, it's Parker from the WatchWell Podcast. If you liked this video, we want to go ahead and have you subscribe right here on this button. If you want to watch the full podcast episode, go ahead and click right here. And if you want to watch another WatchWell clip, go ahead and click right here. And remember, if you're going to watch, watch well. We'll see you in the next one.